All right, folks, we are back in business. It's April 2nd, Liberation Day here in America, as President Trump has just announced his friendly reciprocal tariffs. And then we're also going to be talking about Ripple expanding XRP liquidity. The new tool that we have on the tool belt is going to be RLUSD. And so we got a full breakdown on these markets and the expansion of liquidity, Ripple making it happen. Absolutely excited to bring this update to you here today. Now, getting started, as I always say, market cap is a figment of your imagination, and you're seeing that on display right now. S&P 500 futures accelerate losses, now down about 3% in just 4 minutes. That's 1.3 trillion of market cap erased in just 4 minutes. Poof, gone, a figment of your imagination. And so this is where so many people get it wrong with market cap, right? They think that market cap is something that's really, can hold and can't just be, basically taken away, with enough sellers showing up. That market cap ain't going to be what it once was. Now, on the flip side, folks misuse market cap when applying it to their analysis for cryptocurrencies like XRP, when their primary function is liquidity, and this is a technology much different from stocks. And we'll talk more about the markets here later in this episode. But the summary of President Trump's reciprocal tariff announcement from the Kobesi letter is follows. Tariffs imposed on 50-plus countries in the announcement, with tariffs of over 50% of rates imposed on the U.S. by country. Or sorry, I totally butchered that one. Tariffs are 50% of the rates imposed on the U.S. by the country. So if somebody's charging us 100%, we're charging them about 50%. And that's why they're called friendly reciprocal tariffs, because we're being nice. President Trump, he's being a nice guy so far. 10% baseline tariff on all countries worldwide, 25% auto tariffs on all foreign-made vehicles, and Trump says that the tariffs will give the U.S. growth. Trump plans to announce the largest tax cut in U.S. history, with baseline tariffs going into effect on April 5th, reciprocal tariffs going into effect on April 9th. This is the largest tariff announcement in U.S. history. But, I told you, we got some special partners up here in Canada and Mexico exempt from the reciprocal tariffs for now. And I've been telling my Canadian brothers and sisters, don't worry, we're not going to come at you too hard here yet. As long as we're willing to play nice, come to the table, no reciprocal tariffs on Mexico and Canada. All goes back to that USMCA deal. We want to work with our basically our border countries very closely. And so I'm very glad to see that, we've held off on that for now. And you've already seen Canada coming to the table saying that they're willing to drop all of their tariffs if we don't implement ours. So you're already seeing Canada and many other countries come to the table. By the end of this week, I'm interested to see how many of these countries come forward and say, hey, we're cutting or reducing our tariffs down to zero. It's going to be coming. Now, as we mentioned, Trump promising major tax cuts in an upcoming bill. Remember, he can't do all of this through the stroke of a pen. So he wants to, introduce this external revenue service. He wants to cut taxes. He wants to cut regulation. He wants to implement these tariffs, right? But he can't do all of it through the stroke of a pen. So some of this we are going to have to wait for Congress to actually pass a bill. And we might be waiting for a while because these guys take a recess every other week. I mean, I don't know when they plan on working, but we need to get Congress on it, and we need to get them on it quickly. Now, very, very important to note, mainstream media won't tell you this, but Trump is promising to save Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid will remain untouched. Take a listen in.
And now we're going to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid benefits, and the Democrats will, because...
Very important point that we need to have clear because of the fake news. You know that they're trying to scare everybody, right? This is going to be the end of the world. Your 401k is going to get wiped out. The stock market did come down, right? But was the stock market already overvalued? 100%. Very expensive stock market that was handed over to President Trump, and a fake economy too. And so now we're going to build it back up from the ground up, and we're doing what is really common sense, what is fair. And so you're seeing everybody come to the table. Howard Lutnick is going to raise $1 trillion. Elon Musk is going to cut $1 trillion. And then President Trump is, through these external revenue service, hoping to reduce and bring in the largest tax cuts in the history of America. He wants to keep his promises. And I'm telling you right now, the average American is going to be just fine if we get a little bit of a temporary price bump on some goods from a country, right? If it means that our taxes back home are going to be wiped out completely or drastically reduced. If you're telling me that I have to pay 5 or 10% more on a few items, but I'm not going to have to pay an income tax anymore, me and every other Joe Blow across this country isn't going to care one bit about paying 5, 10, 20% more for a couple goods from China or whatever the country may be. We just do not care here. And I'm telling you right now, many people mistaken and thinking that, oh, this is going to be the end of the world. Never was going to be the end of the world. Now, one asset that's been just on a tear and is responding very well to this news would be gold and silver, by the way. $3,200 per ounce for gold before the market closed off here today. Gold just smashing up to a new all-time high. This is the futures market, by the way. Let me slide on down and see where silver ended up today real quick. Let's take a look at silver. Silver did go above 35 bucks today, closed off just shy. But yeah, back, oh wow. Look at that. We were up at 35.50. That was last week. Yep. I didn't even catch that. Been so busy here recently, but getting back in and we're locked in, and boy, have we positioned ourselves accordingly with our gold and with our silver, which I have linked up down below. Our affiliates and resources for that are available for you guys. If you're looking to get precious metals, we can take care of you. Newsmax down 78% after surging to $240 yesterday. Are stocks officially more volatile than crypto? Well, no, but this is an IPO. And there's plenty of liquidity ready to chase new opportunities. That's why it pumped up. Now, folks were asking me last night on the live show. We were doing a big Q&A session, and I took a lot of questions. And folks were asking me, hey, should I get in on this Newsmax right now? And I said, typically what we see after a company IPOs is the stock actually comes down. The insiders and the folks that are buying private equity pre-IPO, they're finding their exit liquidity when the company goes public on the stock exchange. And so that's what happened here with Newsmax. It is no surprise to me that it is down 78%. And the point that I made last night is the fact that, it surged by, it basically IPO'd at 10 bucks, went up to 240 bucks yesterday, just thousands of percent gain. It shows you how much liquidity is ready to be deployed. Now, speaking of deploying some liquidity, this is what the smart money's been doing. Digital asset investor, tariff XRP dip bot. Now, did we call this one out perfectly or what, folks? We said that the market was going to be coming back down into Liberation Day. We expect the storm to pass after this week, and then we're going to be in the clear, and we're going to be moving back up to the upside. And so digital asset investor deploying some capital, smart money deploying capital. I know many of you guys have been deploying capital, and XRP, what did it do? Held that $2 buy wall like I warned. A lot of folks getting too much as far as wanting XRP to go down to $1.50. Some folks, they're just talking out of their you-know-what, saying that it was going below $1. It's never going below $1 again. Try again, okay? And so XRP held up 201, 202, depending on your exchange. Hopefully you bought the dip. And I know folks were asking me last night about buying more XRP. I said, I don't think that we're really going to get much of a break below $2 here. You might get a little bit more downside pressure today on Liberation Day as this announcement is made, but we're really about to start moving back up here. And so folks are going to be FOMOing into this asset as it soars to a new all-time high in short time. Strap in. Kraken, ROUSD, green light. We are live with it. ROUSD now available for trading on Kraken. Deposits and withdrawals are enabled. We are talking about flipping switches and expanding liquidity. Ripple printing 50 million RLUSD, this time on the XRP ledger. Some folks saw how I'd reported that 50 million RLUSD got minted at the RLUSD treasury, but it was on Ethereum. And most of the RLUSD so far has been actually minted on Ethereum. But now we see that 50 million on ETH was the largest mint ever. Now Ripple stepping up and matching that 50 million with some RLUSD minted on the XRP ledger. And we absolutely love to see it. We're matching this up with the announcement today from Ripple. The RLUSD is now going to be integrated into their Ripple payments offering. So for cross-border payments, for institutional liquidity, on-demand liquidity, obviously using XRP, but now we have Ripple Payments is the new name that they're rolling with, the new product, right? And it incorporates the use of XRP and the use of other stablecoins, but now we can actually use RLUSD as well. Key data point to note here, nearing 250 million market cap with 10 billion in trading volume, now available on Kraken, LMAX, Bullish, Bitstamp, and much more on the way. Now, the reason why I said Ripple expanding XRP liquidity is because they minted this on XRP Ledger. They're going to be minting a lot more on the XRP Ledger. And what this enables is a thriving DeFi ecosystem to flourish here on the XRP Ledger throughout the course of this the rest of this year. As the XRP Ledger gets additional programmability, it's great to have all these DeFi capabilities and programmability, but really you need a stablecoin that can be trusted in your ecosystem for DeFi applications, because you don't really necessarily want to put up XRP or a volatile asset all the time in your DeFi, right? Because if your collateral could potentially drop by 20, 40, 50%, you could find yourself in some trouble with your DeFi program. And so this is why stablecoins are key, also for institutional on-ramping. And this is what Ripple is going to be doing. This is why I titled it Ripple Expanding XRP Liquidity. What did I say at the beginning? What tool do we have now? RLUSD. So people mistakenly thinking that RLUSD will replace XRP couldn't be further from the truth, right? It's only complementary, and it's bringing liquidity to the XRP ledger. It's bringing liquidity to crypto that otherwise might not have ever seen crypto at all, right? This is institutional money flows that don't necessarily have to go through crypto, but now they are going to be going through crypto, and it's going to be on the XRP ledger. And remember, even though they're issuing it on Ethereum as well, you always have that interoperability to bring back that RLUSD and that liquidity to the best source of liquidity in the world, which is the XRP ledger. Finally, let's wrap up this episode here by taking a look at the charts. XRP down to 207, and this is after today we rallied all the way up to, wow, 223 today for XRP. That was a big one, with Bitcoin going all the way up here to about 88.5. Big rally today, but now the market coming back down after the tariffs have just been announced. And this is just a late move. I mean, this is market maker manipulation, right? I mean, if you're selling today, where have you been and what are you doing, right? Because if you were worried about the tariffs, you already should have been out. So is this real sell pressure? No, market maker manipulation. It's about to subside, and we're about to be back up to the upside here shortly. So like I said on the live stream last night, you can place some orders down here at $2. You can scoop some up right now at about 207 as I record this update. I don't think that we're going below $2, to be honest with you. And if we do, just like in the previous couple times we've done it, it might only last 5, 10, or 15 minutes max. So place those orders, send a prayer to somebody, and hopefully your order is going to go through, because XRP is not going to be chilling out at these levels for very long. We mentioned it, triple tap, 4th time's a fake out, then we launch, triple tap, 4th time's a fake out, and then we launch. And so we're on our way to an all-time high. Ripple continues to expand liquidity. America is back, and our economy is about to be booming after we get out of this storm. It's going to be a little bumpy here for a minute, and that's a sacrifice that we all should be willing to make. That one, because ultimately it's going to be good for Americans, and it's going to be good for the world as well too. We want free and open trade, but what we've been having is getting taken advantage of, to put it simply, and it's not going to happen anymore. And so everything's aligning for us to remain as bullish as ever on utility cryptocurrencies that are based in America. XRP in the lead, with Ripple being the main driver for our ecosystem. So with that being said, I'm going to wrap up this episode. I will see you guys back again tomorrow. We're back in it, and we are locked in. You guys stick around with us. If you appreciate what we're doing, you know what to do. Everything else is at ZachRector.com. God bless you all. Thank you. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.